losing body fat is the goal because nobody just wants to lose weight, right? Everybody's and that's the problem when these people throw these numbers around, like just eat less calories and you will lose weight. We don't want to lose weight. We want to lose body fat. We want to hold on to muscle. And the only way to hold on to muscle is to eat adequate protein and to do strength training. So strength training is required as part of it. So in some ways, the real answer to this is the best way to lose body fat is to do strength training.
We are about to launch
Solo round.
Truth Not Trends.
There's a cow in here. I don't know why. Truth not trend.
Cow is sick or something.
Maybe I don't know. I haven't practiced my cow noises.
That was it. Unique.
Was it unique cow noise?
What's going on, people?
What's up? We're here in the petting zoo,
Jesse Schmidt and Liam Bauer here with you.
right here in our mom's basement. No, wait a minute. We're in the studio at TNT HQ.
Graduated from the
I
basement.
miss mom's basement.
Yeah, it was good times. There was a lot of coconut oil in there.
That's right. Like 5 gallons of coconut oil. I forgot about that.
You just take a scoop.
Anytime
Scoop
you
it with your
needed
hand.
it, you could just like take a
Yeah.
big tablespoon. You could do some oil pulling, in between phrases.
What's up, people? Believe it or not, this is the podcast where we help you maximize your strength as safely
And efficiently
as possible.
with no cow noises required.
No, but you can make them if you want. My name's Jesse Schmidt, and I've been a strength coach for 1,974 days.
Man, we're coming up on like the multiple
2,000.
thousand marks. It's incredible. I have been a strength coach for 35 years and counting. Liam Bauer in the house, aka Taku.
And today we got a solo round coming to you where we're going to reveal something that has been on people's minds for decades.
It is. It's the holy grail. It's a top secret. You better wait because you can't. You've been waiting your entire life to find out what we're about to tell you.
These are the best exercises for fat loss, people.
Or getting a six pack.
I mean, spoiler alert.
Six pack secrets.
We took this routine directly from Britney Spears' workout. But like, not right now, but like in her prime,
What was
where
that?
she's cranking out music videos.
We need that like funny thing about from something about Mary, like 6-minute abs or 7-minute abs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
7-minute abs.
That is fucking awesome.
We are going to teach you 2-minute abs in this
No, it
episode.
can't be. Not 2 minutes.
I said 7.
Tune in, people, because we know, you have you put on the COVID-5 or the COVID-10 or maybe the COVID-20, and you're going to need to know how to do these exercises to burn it off.
Yeah, and then the order is important.
Or the order is crucial. So make sure you listen all the way through to the end. Before we get to the episode, we're going to talk to you about a couple of our podcast partners. The first one being Low-Cal Foods. Cali.
Feed your inner athlete.
Feed your inner athlete. Low-Cal Foods is a Bay Area-based meal delivery company, and they're going to deliver either food straight to your front door, or you can come pick it up here at the TNT studio at 5255 College Avenue in Oakland. And this is just great because if you're listening to this podcast, you're a busy person. And it might be tough to cook some good, healthy, quick meals from time to time because work
Right.
gets crazy, family life gets crazy. And so
You're juggling the school, the kids. You're driving and listening to this podcast right now while you're doing 47 other things.
it's like a Penn and Teller act over there
That's it.
at your house. And so Low-Cal, they're gonna make some customized, pop them in the microwave meals for you. They're delicious, they're nutritious, and most of all, they save you a ton of time. Plus, you can use the discount code TNT Strength 5 to get 5% off your next order. So take advantage because your goals are too important to let fall by the wayside.
And when you find out what these secret ab exercises are, which we're going to unveil shortly, you're going to want to make sure you have the best tools in the world to do in-home strength training. And what are better tools than the Harambe system? The Harambe system is a band-based strength training system made in the USA. by our good friend Khalid Borbeya, aka
Boo, Robbie.
That's right. And Khalid has built the best band-based strength training system in the world. It's got a stainless steel bar. It's got a great feel to it. It has high weight molecular plastic base plate. It's bigger than most of the other ones out there. It has multiple channels. You can perform any barbell type exercise you could possibly imagine with the Harambe system. It's actually gotten less expensive recently. You can go to the Harambe store and pick up the whole package, enter the code TNT, and get 15% off everything in the Harambe store. Get some swag, get a t-shirt, get a bottle, get a hat while you're there, man. You want to fly your flag and play Harambe all day long.
People, we're going to talk about spot reduction today in this solo round. Tune in, don't tune out. Tune in, turn the volume up, turn it down. You're listening on 2x speed, turn it down to 1. You want to really absorb this information. So enjoy it.
Solo round.
So we're bringing you the top 5 exercises of all time, scientifically backed up for losing abdominal body fat. You've been looking everywhere. You've been watching infomercials. You've been watching television. You've been talking with your friends. You've been talking with your doctor.
You Google. Your googliness is powerful.
That's right. You've looked everywhere, and thankfully you tuned into TNT today because we're finally going to give you the answers.
You might have even gone to
Bing.com.
or Ask Jeeves.
You've been asking Jeeves.
What was the old ones that they used to have?
I mean, Yahoo's still around.
That's true. Well, yeah, I know.
There's still,
Wasn't there
got
some
like
funny
3%
ones?
of the internet or something?
Yahoo!
If you don't googliness, use Bing.
So look, let's not keep them in suspense, Taku. People rack their brains. Sometimes we train clients for literally years, and then one day they turn around and ask us in a session one day, what kind of exercises can I do to lose this belly fat?
Yeah, occasionally they ask that.
So let's not keep them in suspense.
Just occasionally.
Let's tell these good people they tuned in. Let's get the drum roll going. Straight to number 1. We're not even doing a countdown. Straight to number 1. The top exercise you can do to lose abdominal fat is burpees. Stop.
That was a joke. No.
No, seriously. Stop lifting that spoon to your mouth, people. Just stop it right now. You were thinking you opened the jar of almond butter and you went straight in with a spoon. You didn't even make a sandwich. You didn't check the macros. You just went straight for a spoonful, and that spoonful was about 5 times the actual serving size.
I used to make that mistake with my mom when she was, having some issues with her satiety mechanisms, and she'd be like, "I want to taste," and I'd leave and come back, and like an entire jar of peanut butter would be gone.
Yeah,
she'd just be sitting there like, "Cloop,"
yeah,
with her finger, no spoon required.
So, like, bottom line, we're gonna cut to the chase, right? Bottom line is exercises are not the way to lose body fat. They're just not. You're gonna get sold this idea of spot reduction, which is what it's called. This idea that, I can just do tricep exercise to lose the flab in my arms, or I can just do crunches to lose body fat in my belly, or whatever,
butt,
squats
right? Yeah.
to lose it in your butt.
How many squats do I have to do?
and spot reduction. So this is the thing. Spot reduction is the myth. It is the mechanism that infomercials are using to exploit you and take your money.
Those little electric machines that just make your abs contract, right? You know those ones you put on,
right.
And you like
pulsating.
Yeah,
I can feel the body fat melting off of it. So and these salespeople, these companies that are selling the exercises or the vibrating machines or whatever they happen to be, they're playing off of your desperation, because there are a lot of people out there in America and around the world that want to lose body fat, that have tried to lose body fat, that have struggled with it and want a quick solution. And so you get sold this idea that, use the lap band or whatever, this fancy new gadget, and just for 3 easy payments of $39.99, you can lose the belly fat for life.
And folks have been around as long as I have. Remember that, in the gyms, they used to have these machines that would literally jiggle your tummy. You'd get in and they'd put this thing around your waist and it would literally shake you. Or you'd sit on this little thing and it had rollers and they would roll on your butt, to like remove the cellulite.
Yeah.
They have like these passive machines that are going to somehow do it,
Well,
right?
it sounds kind of nice. Sounds like a massage.
Yeah,
Sounds kind of
I'm
nice.
sure it feels good, but I don't think the fat's going anywhere.
Yeah. So let's talk about why is exercise not an efficient way to lose body fat? And we've talked about it many times before on the TNT Strength podcast. But it's a lot easier to take in a high amount of calories in a short amount of time than it is to do enough exercise to lose or to burn a significant amount of calories.
Right. We've said it a whole bunch of times, like an average sized guy running on a treadmill, at 10 miles an hour for 30 minutes, is only going to burn, 300 calories or so. Basically, that's like, 6 chocolate chip cookies, which you could eat in like a moment. So, it will take a moment to get those calories into your system, and it would
Right.
take you a lot of work to get them out of your system. And the other mistake that people make, which we've discussed many times, is, people often literally exercise just to eat, right? They go, well, I got on the step mill. It says I burned 500 calories. It says that Big Mac is 500 calories. I'm going to go eat my Big Mac now. But even if that's true, even if those numbers were 100% accurate, which number one, they probably aren't, you haven't created a deficit, right? Because you just filled in the work with the Big Mac and you're back to zero, right? So you're already defeating your purpose, unless your goal is to stay exactly the same and eat that Big Mac, right?
So this is the fundamental at play here is something called calories in, calories out, right? Let's say I have a goal of losing 10 pounds of body fat. Okay. If you want to go about this in a disciplined and professional way, then we have to sort of look at this goal mathematically. Now, the generally accepted number for losing 1 pound of body fat is about 3,500 calories. All right. So now if I need to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit to lose 1 pound of body fat, really it's 35,000 calories because it's 10 pounds, not just 1 pound of body fat. But if I want to do it in a sustainable way, I need to try to be in about a 500 calorie per day deficit, right? So using myself as an example, I generally try to take in about 1,700 calories a day when I want to be lean, and I do that because I want to weigh. Our general rule is if you want to weigh 170 pounds, try to take in your body weight, your ideal body weight, plus a zero, right? So 170, add a zero on the end, 1,700 calories. My basal metabolic rate is about 17 or 1,800 calories. And because I'm active throughout the day, I probably walk about 5 miles a day, 10,000 steps, something like that. My active calorie burn is somewhere around 2,300. So if I'm burning 22 or 2,300 calories a day, say it's 22, and I'm taking in 1,700 calories a day, that puts me in a 500 calorie deficit. And that's what's necessary on a regular basis to be losing a pound of body fat a week. So back to that 3,500 number.
Yeah, again, that's the idea of burning it for losing a pound per week, which is kind of recognized as a safe, methodical way to go, right? Like people obviously can lose fat faster. You can create a bigger deficit through more extreme caloric restriction, but there becomes a limiting factor of getting enough nutrition while still maintaining the calories. Sometimes they do these extreme things under doctor supervision. These crazy super caloric restrictions. This is where things like time restricted eating and intermittent fasting come in handy, right? Because super simple just to create a deficit if you're just not taking in calories on a day, and you want to factor that in over your week, right? Not just you don't just slam the numbers way down like, well, if I want to lose it faster, I'll eat 500 calories a day, right? Yeah, it's hard to sustain that sort of plan. That's why we talk about these not too aggressive numbers over time.
So we really have to be focused on the nutrition, because like Liam said, it's so easy to just eat a couple, you're at an office happy hour, or right, somebody brings donuts in for breakfast or whatever it might be. It's so easy to just slam a couple hundred calories. I mean, you could take in 1,000 extra calories a day without even blinking.
Sure.
It does take a concerted effort if your goal is to lose body fat. And we want to talk about a study. This is a study that was shared recently on Instagram by a researcher named Alan Aragon. You can look him up. And so in this study, they took two groups of people. There was a control group that didn't do any ab exercises, and there was another group that did do ab exercises. They did 2 sets of 10 reps, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. And both groups were fed an isocaloric diet, meaning that they got equal calories, equal amount of calories from carbs, fat, and protein on a daily basis. So one group did no exercises, one group did ab exercises. And the purpose of the study was to figure out, okay, do the people who are doing ab exercises lose more body fat? And so what this study found out was that there was no significant effect of abdominal exercises on body weight, body fat percentage, abdominal circumference, or abdominal skin fold and suprailiac skin fold measurements, meaning above the waist. So from a body fat loss standpoint, there was no difference. There was zero difference. I'm going to repeat that for a third time. There was zero difference. Zero difference between the group that did 6 weeks, right? Remember, 6 weeks of 5 days a week. They did 30 workouts, 30 ab workouts. And the ab workout crowd didn't lose any significant amount of body fat compared to the group that literally did nothing. They literally did nothing. Okay. This cannot be stressed enough. So I don't know if you're one of these people who's been sold by this idea that, oh, it just takes you got to use the right ab blaster, tool that I bought in a infomercial or whatever. Even if you're, you think that you could just train harder, just do more crunches, right? These people did 30 ab workouts and they didn't lose any more body fat than the group that did nothing. Now so that might be a little discouraging for you, but here's the thing that should be encouraging. So they go on to say 6 weeks of abdominal exercise training alone was not sufficient to reduce abdominal subcutaneous fat and other measures of body composition. Nevertheless, abdominal exercise training significantly improved muscular endurance to a greater extent than the control group. So that's the silver lining here, is that ab exercises make your abs stronger.
Yeah, no surprise. Whoa.
And that ultimately is a good thing that can indirectly affect your body composition. So we're going to talk about how that works a little bit too. So one of those ways is through improved insulin sensitivity. So, insulin is the hormone that clears sugar out of your blood. When we don't clear sugar out of the blood, your body's got to do something with it. So it tends to store it as body fat. And so if you are strength training, the reason why you become more insulin sensitive is because you will add muscle. Muscle is a storage facility for glucose, for blood sugar.
Right, in the form of glycogen.
So this is why if it is your goal to lose body fat, you really should be strength training, because if you gain some muscle, having a few extra carbohydrates or a little extra sugar, a few extra calories is not going to affect you the same way that it might if you had less muscle
The other thing
on you.
The other thing to keep in mind about all these kind of things with, you see there's a million websites and workout plans and books and videos and stuff showing these amazing transformations and, whatever. And there's everybody, there's the battles over hormonal responses in the body versus the calories in, calories out, right? Where we feel both things are involved. But the reality is that the most important thing is when you do that math, if losing body fat is the goal, because nobody just wants to lose weight, right? And that's the problem when people throw these numbers around, like just eat less calories and you will lose weight, right? We don't want to lose weight. We want to lose body fat. We want to hold on to muscle. And the only way to hold on to muscle is to eat adequate protein and to do strength training. So strength training is required as part of it. So in some ways, the real answer to this is the best way to lose body fat is to do strength training. But the reason why that is because it holds on to muscle and or builds new muscle, not because it in its of itself is like a great way to burn calories, right? We can't spot reduce. The analogy I use a lot of times is, if you can all picture in your mind right now a swimming pool in your backyard shaped like a star, right? You have a star-shaped swimming pool. And I told you, get a bucket and try to empty the water out of just one of the star's points, right? So you take your bucket and you start putting in there, you jump it, and you notice that the whole pool is going down at the exact same rate. You can't empty the water just from one point of the star. Okay, that's the same idea with your body and doing these ab exercises. We can't make the fat go away from one part of the body and not another part. It goes away uniformly. And wherever we store the most is determined by our genetics. Most of the time with men, it's the abdominal regions. Real common for guys to kind of look normal. They got even muscular arms and they look okay, but they got this big belly. And often in women, it's in the hips and thighs, although this is not universal. Some women get it in their belly, some men get it in their thighs. There's all kinds of things, but we store it everywhere. And so when we lose it, we also lose it from everywhere. All right. So keep that swimming pool in mind. You can't empty water out of one part of the pool. We need to lose water from everywhere, but we want only the fat to go. So strength training is still the most important exercise, but it doesn't have to be ab training, right? It's total body strength training, which keeps muscle or builds new muscle and helps you achieve that goal of being leaner.
It's a fantastic Liamism there, the star-shaped swimming pool. It's a vivid image. So yeah, really important stuff to remember there, people. There's some, we live in an interesting time where, there's all kinds of things going on, like a body positivity movement. And, it's important to recognize that, losing body fat or being fit or being lean or whatever your goal is a more complex thing than a lot of people let on and realize. There are social factors involved, there are psychological factors involved, there are genetic factors involved. It's really not as simple as, certain people, especially on social media, make it out to be. Like, you just got to be disciplined, or right, if you're a new parent and your kids keeping you up at all hours of the night, it's really not as simple as, just eat a high protein breakfast. Or, and so, we really need to just try to do the best that we can at any given moment. There are good times and worse times for, trying to optimize your physique, but this is part of the reason why at TNT, we advocate 2 full body strength training workouts a week, is because almost anybody at any point in their life can make it for, an hour a week to do some strength training. And if you do that, you will largely maintain muscle over your lifespan. And depending on what's going on in your life, your body composition, right? The proportion of muscle to body fat is going to change. It's going to fluctuate. Okay. You might have a baby, and depending on if you're the one having the baby or not, I mean, maybe it's sympathy weight you gain too, right? Both, people in the pair could gain, 10, 20 pounds. Okay. Your life just changed dramatically. And I think around life changes is not uncommon for people to,
Can be obviously real stressful too.
Yeah,
Sleep
right?
disruption.
Cortisol increases, your circadian rhythms get thrown off. There are real challenges here. And I think it's important to be empathetic with ourselves and with the people around us. And then when you have the bandwidth, mentally, physically, psychologically, socially, to sort of attack this issue, whatever it might be, if it's losing body fat, then you take a look in the mirror and you say, okay, well, what needs to get done here, and am I making the decisions that is going to take me down the road I want to go on?
Yeah. Now, remember, anyone who's been listening to us for a long time, or hopefully you recognize, like, the other approach that we take is always searching for the efficient way to do things, right? The most efficient way. So we don't try to find out how much we can handle till we break. We try to find out what's the least amount required to achieve the goal. And the most bang for your buck activity that you can do when it comes to exercise is always going to be vertically loaded circuit style strength training, which means one set of an exercise, move down the line, hit ones till they're challenging each time. Do as many as you can. You can make a circuit. You could do it for time. You can do it for reps. It doesn't matter. And when I say vertically loaded, the difference is horizontally loaded is a classic thing. Like, I'm going to choose bench press and I'm going to do a set, rest, do another set, rest, do another set, rest, 5 sets of bench press. Now I go to my next exercise. That's what we call horizontal loading. Vertical loading is like bench press, pull down, lat, right, row, shoulder press. we're going through the whole body vertically. We're not going and repeating the movement over and over again in series, right? And if you wanted to stack those on top of each other, if you're someone who likes to do more sets of things, stacking vertically loaded sets is still more efficient, in my opinion. So you might pick 5 exercises, go through the list, and go through twice, right? Try to do it efficiently, try to be challenged by the efforts that you put in. That's going to be the best bang for your buck when it comes to the things that are going to help you maintain muscle or build new muscle, which again, as we've already discussed, is going to contribute to this body fat loss in the big picture.
There's one phrase I think I hear people say over and over it is confusing. First of all, people are always skeptical when we bring these things up. When we say, the client says, how many crunches do I need to do to lose a pound of body fat? And we say, well, it doesn't really
A lot of fucking crunches.
doesn't really work like that. I think somebody just knocked.
Hey, what are those guys doing here?
Whenever I feel like I'm stalling out on my bench press, I know I need a new strength curve.
Whether you're stalling out on the road or stalling out in the gym, you need something with great engineering.
That's right. And
So
I
look
want
for the pendulum.
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 Not just your average strength machines.
No, they have smooth strength curves.
Amazing rigidity.
And did we mention the engineering's fantastic?
That's right. Not to mention, they come in cool colors.
Like red.
And silver. Well, that was kind of weird. What was that all about? Back to the interview.
Where were we?
People are always skeptical about, they think they've heard this message so many times that all you have to do is 1,000 crunches a day to keep your waist tight. It's just not true. So there's this like denial that happens.
I think I used to do I literally used to get up in the morning and do like this ab circuit, and then I would do it again at night, like every single day.
Yep.
And then I would go to the gym also. I think I went through a point where I was working out literally like 3 times a day, like home stuff and then gym stuff.
Yeah.
Like literally daily.
Yeah, I had a similar, in high school. That was when I started lifting weights, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I would lift weights after school, and I was just bench pressing. That was all I knew how to do, basically, because you just grab a bar and you do it. And my bench press got pretty good too. And then I would go home and I would do 300 push-ups.
Yeah.
And then sometimes after I did those push-ups, I would go to the gym again and I would bench press some more. Yeah.
Probably your bench press wasn't as good after the 300 push-ups.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
So don't do that, people. Do a full body workout, work hard, take a couple days off, and then do it again.
That's right. If you like to do things like push-ups or chin-ups and things like that, as if you like daily activity, what I would recommend is don't do that stuff to failure. Think of it more as like practice, and always say sub-maximal steps. Just so you like the movements and you want to feel it and do that's fine. But a couple times a week, at least try to get in some stuff that's super challenging, right? And spread those a couple days apart from each other, those challenging efforts.
I want to just talk about toning for a quick second, because some
Sure.
people, when they're in that denial state, they say, "Oh, I don't need to lose body fat. I just want to tone. I just want to tone a bit."
Tone up.
And so anytime I've heard that so many times over the last 5 years. Anytime somebody says, "I want to tone," I say, "Well, define to me what is toning."
Mm-hmm.
And they generally can't give a clear answer.
Sure.
Because again, toning is like the infomercial, like bullshit word.
Right. Longer, leaner muscles.
It's very, very nebulous. It doesn't have a definition. So here's the definition for you guys for what is toning. Toning can happen when you increase lean muscle or when you decrease body fat. And spoiler alert, you're going to feel a lot more toned when you lose the body fat.
Yeah, and the reality is that tone is a state of excitement in the muscle, right? It's like they're literally like sort of in a state of readiness. That's also part of like tone, and that comes again from being exposed to these efforts. When you don't do any exercise, your muscles become flaccid. They atrophy, meaning they get smaller, right? They get weaker. They feel mushier, right? There's not a lot going on, but visibly, which is what most people think of when they think of tone, as Jesse's saying, they think of it as a visual thing, not an actual physical thing. But visually, tone literally just means being leaner, right? Again, another time when you see these body transformations, there's a million of these before and after pictures, and you'll see something and it'll go, this guy did gain 30 pounds of muscle in like 6 weeks or whatever. And keep in mind that the leaner you get, the bigger you look. Right. And this is true. So these guys are very rarely are they adding lots of muscle. They're usually maintaining or adding a little muscle and losing some fat and revealing that muscle to a much greater degree. And that looks dramatic. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I don't weigh that much. I'm 5'7". I weigh about 160 something pounds. When I get super lean, people always tell me that I got bigger. And I weigh less on the scale.
And by bigger, you mean more muscular.
Yeah. They think, wow, you got big, right? And the reality is I actually am usually leaner and weigh less. And pictures of me when I look my biggest, I'm usually under 160 pounds. And people look and go, wow, you used to be much bigger in the old days. Well, I'm actually bigger now, right? But visually, I don't look as lean or as toned or whatever you want to call it. So it's really almost an illusion, right? And that's true of a lot of these guys. So those transformations most of those times, those numbers are not accurate. They're not real. There's not that many guys running around with arms that are bigger than 20 inches and 24-inch waists and 56-inch chest. Those numbers are 99.9% of the time exaggerated, as are all those transformation numbers. All that shit's an illusion out there. And these days, right? I'm an old guy. They didn't have filters and all that stuff. There was all so like pictures were pictures in the old days. But now you can't trust anything, right? There's filters and there's Photoshop and there's a million things going on.
So I think we have to touch on the fact that there is an amount of exercise that will put you in a deep enough calorie deficit that you will lose body fat without adjusting your diet, right?
There could be.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
It's an almost infinite number. But take jogging, for example, getting away from the strength exercises. We generally say that, running or walking a mile burns about 100 calories. So let's say I walk or run 5 miles a day. I have, created a 500 calorie buffer or 500 calorie deficit. Let's say I'm intent on eating, a couple donuts for breakfast every day, and I run because I like to eat those donuts for breakfast. That means that if I am intent on keeping those donuts, right, keeping those extra 500 calories in my diet, I will always have to run those 5 miles a day in order to maintain my body composition, right? If I were to continue doing that running and eliminate the donuts, now I would create a 500 calorie per day deficit. And if I were to, in a better case scenario, if I were to eliminate the donuts on a regular basis, a donut every now and then, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to add 1 million pounds of body fat. But if I were to eliminate the donuts largely and also cut the running way down, my body's probably going to feel a lot better, because that's getting onto another topic. But that's just a lot of exercise, and 5 miles a day. I mean, if you're running, 35 miles a week, that's a lot of mileage, which some people do, and some people feel fine. But It has to be programmed intelligently. And if the goal is not to be a competitive marathon runner or something like that, but the goal is to lose body fat, it's going to be a much more efficient route to take to just focus on the diet.
This is like a tiny tangent, but another thing that happens a lot in our industry is, people have fixated on a time in their life when they felt like they were in better shape. And it often is attached to certain things like this, like maybe at that time they were running 5 miles a day. And when you go, hey, when were you in the best shape of your life? And they said, 10 years ago, I was running 5 miles a day, right? And I did X, Y, Z. And so now they come to you often thinking the only way I'm getting back there is to go back to running 5 miles a day, or whatever that thing was. I used to do X for Y amount. And the reality is it's not the only way. You could never run again. I use this as an example all the time, but for me personally, I did an experiment years ago where my body fat was 17%. In 55 days, I dropped my body fat from 17% to 7% in 55 days. And I did zero cardio. I didn't do anything. No walking, running, treadmills, nothing. All I did was strength training 3 times a week with 1 set to failure. Never took more than 20 or 30 minutes. And that was it. And I controlled my nutrition very, very, very strictly. Right? I got my protein numbers in. I made sure my calories were where I wanted them to be. So I dropped 10% of body fat in 55 days, right? It's dramatic. And, got the before and after pictures and the whole thing. And people see that. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to ever run again, and you can still achieve these goals. So it's just getting the elements put together and being consistent and putting in the effort is true. But yeah, the magic exercise is to do some kind of strength training and learn to actually have a deficit in your caloric intake, and not just fill it in with things every time you did it. Oh, I burned my 500. Now I'm going to go eat the cheesecake. I see it a lot.
Sometimes you got to eat the cheesecake. Cheesecake's delicious, but when your goal is to lose body fat, you got to skip the cheesecake. a fair amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing, you know, along those lines is I find it's if you can have 5 out of every 7 days where your calories are dialed in, like, and most people it works Monday through Friday, right? We're usually working, you know, so usually pick 1 or 2 weekend days where you kind of don't worry about it so much. If you're getting consistent 5 days out of every 7, you're probably going to hit your goals pretty easily. But when you start to creep those numbers up to 50-50 or 60-40, right? When you start only every other day was a good day, or I had a good day 3 days ago, yeah, it's never going to work, right? So, but you know, the 5 days on, 2 days off, or 1 day off on the weekends is a super effective, because a lot of times that's when we're going on a date, that's when we're going to a party, that's when we're gonna have social things. You don't want to be that guy who's like, oh no, I can't have a chip, because I'm, you know, you want to be able to go to the party or go on the date and eat what you want and not worry about it.
Just try not to eat the whole bowl of guacamole.
Yeah, eat the taco salad, but don't eat the bowl. A 5,000 calorie salad. But yeah, so those kind of things. And again, this is something that we can help you with. People are out there in TV land, radio land, podcast land. You should be sending us email. You need help? We do this all the time. Let us help you create a nutrition plan, create an action plan. It will work. Reach out. That's why we're here. Anything else on our agenda today?
It's a good place to end it.
Good place to call it.
Boom, baby! What's up, people? Thank you so much for listening to this episode of
Truth Not Trends.
That's right here at TNT Strength Headquarters, Truth Not Trends.
Please, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, rate, and review us on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And don't forget to share with a friend.
You can find us on the web at tntstrength.com.
That's right, TNT Strength now coming to you in person at 5255 College Avenue in Oakland, California. You can call the studio 510-768-5421. You can also text us at 855-796-9905.
Or shoot us an email at contact@tntstrength.com. And whatever you do, stay off of that stupid blue bubbly bosun.
I'm on the run, the cuffs got my gun.
Right about now, time to have some fun.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
You heard of this thing, the 8-minute abs?
Yeah, sure, 8-minute abs. Yeah, the exercise video. Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, this is gonna blow that right out of the water. Listen to this. 7-minute abs.
Right. Yes. Okay. All right. I see where you're going.
Think about it. You walk into a video store, you see 8-minute abs sitting there. There's
Right.
7-minute abs right beside it. Which one are you gonna pick, man?
I would go for the 7. Yeah, I'd go for
Bingo, man, bingo. 7-minute abs. And we guarantee just as good a workout as the 8-minute, folk.
You guarantee it? That's how do you do that?
If you're not happy with the first 7 minutes, we're gonna send you the extra minute free. See, that's it. That's our motto. That's where we're coming from. That's from A to B.
That's right. That's good. That's good. Unless, of course, somebody comes up with 6-minute abs, then you're in trouble, huh?
No, not 6. I said 7. Nobody's coming up with 6. Who works out in 6 minutes? You won't even get your heart going, not even a mouse
Right.
on a wheel.
Good point.
7's
yeah.
the key number here. Think about it.
Right.
7
7,
11s,
yeah.
7 dwarfs. 7, man, that's the number. 7 chipmunks twirling on a branch, eating lots of sunflowers on my uncle's ranch. You know that old children's tale from the sea? It's like you're dreaming about gorgonzola cheese when it's clearly brie time, baby. Step into my office,
Why?
'cause you're fucking fired.